and thank you for joining us. It's 9 o'clock and you're right in time for Business Today with Rona Nahabwe, together with Winnie Wiins and Nakauchi for the sign language interpretation. Before we head right into it, here's what top stories. In Business Today, Uganda is urged to establish maritime agencies just like Kenya and Tanzania as international freight forwarders convene in the Africa Middle East Conference. Minister of Trade, Uganda Cooperative Alliance established a steering committee to realize a long-time cooperative bank. And more than 300 million shillings is squandered by 3 Trade Ministry staff members on fuel expenses. Cash withdrawals included as trend is linked to more ministries. You're welcome once again to Business Today. I'm Rona Nahabwe. Now, beginning with what's new with the Cooperative Bank, the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives, together with the Uganda Cooperative Alliance, have officially launched a steering committee for the establishment of the National Cooperative Bank. The long-time demand, a cooperative bank, is part of the need for avenues to provide specialized financial services tailored to the cooperative movement. In the same spirit, it was also to serve as an exit for the parish development model. Now, Mutumba reports.
With over 50,000 registered cooperatives, currently serving more than 15 million Ugandans across various sectors, Uganda Cooperative Alliance and the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives have set a steering committee for the establishment of the National Cooperative Bank, expected to ease access to affordable financing. The bank is set to pull 39% of Ugandans, currently excluded from the money economy, into the formal financial system.
In 3 months, we should have laid down some procedural points that the cabinet must consider for the bank to be established. But so far so good. I am happy at the excitement. I am happy at the zeal, and they are prioritizing the bank. We are now walking the talk.
But in Kenya, we all know the strengths of the cooperative bank in Kenya and the strengths of the cooperative movement in Kenya. Because for you to have a strong cooperative movement, you need pillars. And one of the pillars is the financial pillar. You need a bank of your own. You need a marketing pillar. You need a processing pillar. You need other pillars, the youth, the women. Those are pillars, they are supportive. But more critical is the financing arm.
In the alternative ministerial policy statement for finance, planning and economic development, a merger between Microfinance Support Center and Pride Microfinance was proposed in a bid to form a cooperative bank to potentially bridge the financing gap, as the financial sector is currently dominated by foreign-owned banks. The proposal, however, denoted contrasting views. To government and stakeholders, the National Cooperative Bank will play a transformational role in supporting growth and sustainability of cooperatives, extending specialized financial products and services such as savings accounts, loans and investment options to different sectors such as agriculture, manufacturing, services and trade.
All over the country. If you are in Moyo, we have a very big circle, the circle savings and credit cooperative in Moyo, a very big one with over 1 billion shillings. We have presence in Arua, we are present in Gulu, we are present in every part of this country as cooperatives. So it will be their responsibility to give us an opportunity to use part of their premises as part of their shares for us to put banks in those areas. Now, we have challenges because some banks that are holding on to the PDM circle are not present in the whole region of the country. So we hope that if we did this, we'll also be able to reach and send services nearer the people and on the grassroots.
Cost of credit still maintains a 4th position among access to finance challenges, despite sectors such as agriculture, manufacturing and transport demonstrating clear need for sustainable finance. In view of a central cooperative bank, such challenges are expected to be offset. Naomi Mtumba, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
We will definitely be bringing you a more detailed conversation in regards to that report. Now, looking at the financial sector stability, risk to default is one of the evaluations of poor credit ratings among many African countries as such highlight risk levels and transparency. Uganda Development Bank, the country's development finance institution, has been rated at AAA by a credit rating agency, Fitch, a sign for a stable outlook. While this draws appeal for the foreign investors, there is still a lot to take away as per the private sector, where credit uptake is coming at an increased rate coming into August. Take a look.
Credit ratings play a vital role in development of a business, whereby it assists a business in evaluating management practices in businesses. But then, high interest rates resulting from high credit costs can negatively influence the performance and profitability of a business.
For instance, the cost of credit. The cost of credit is so high. So when you go to the financial institutions to access money which you should use to trade.
Uganda Development Bank has achieved a milestone with Fitch Ratings assigning it a national long-term rating of AAA with a stable outlook. As of mid-year 2023, the bank approved loans worth 509.1 billion shillings and disbursed an amount worth 316.2 billion shillings, an achievement. Well, with these ratings, it will help the bank attract more international investors, secure funding at favorable interest rates, and also collaborate with global partners on impactful projects.
Our prudent financial management has allowed us to maintain a healthy and sustainable statement of financial position. Our non-equity funding, which comprises borrowings from development finance institutions, was almost entirely government guaranteed at the end of 2022. This, along with our substantial liquid assets, ensures that we are well positioned to comfortably cover upcoming debt repayments. By placing the sustainability agenda at the heart of our business, the bank has consistently delivered robust profitability, a true virtue that has been anchored by our high professional and productive human resource base as we pursue the bank's mandate. As of mid-2023, the bank had approved loans worth 509 billion and total disbursements for 2023 alone to date of 316 billion.
So we track the jobs that the businesses we are supporting are creating and maintaining. We also track the output value that is produced by these businesses that are supported. We track the tax contribution. We track forex earnings from the businesses that are supported, among others. I would start with tax. For the projects that were approved between January and June this year, that is 2023, they are projected to generate around 198.9 billion Uganda shillings.
If you look at the global rate, the global interest rating, the interest rate is at 5.3, the SOFR. The secured overnight financing rate, which is the benchmark globally, is at 5.3%. So ideally, when the funding partners are kind of profiling you, it is risk-based. So you become less risk an institution to deal with. Then you're able to attract low-cost funding, which is able to come and you deploy into your development agenda as a country, and then you're able to finance all these developmental projects that we have in the country.
This stable outlook indicates the bank's reliable performance, instilling more confidence in the investors and key stakeholders in the banking sector. Also, with this endorsement, the bank will expand its financial reach and accelerate economic development in Uganda. Bronya Katsime, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
Thank you, Bronya Katsime, for that report. Now we'll shift our focus to the flow of logistics. Delegates from across the globe, including Uganda, have assembled for the International Federation of Freight Forwarders Association's Region Conference for Africa and the Middle East. Emphasis on challenges in the logistics industry such as demurrage costs, non-tariff barriers, roadblocks, plus consideration for the reduced rail tariffs have been tabled. In the same light, advocacy for establishment of maritime agencies to enhance cross-border trade similar to Kenya and Tanzania has been advised for countries such as Uganda. Take a look at this report. Uganda's strategic position in the East African region has paved way for concern over appropriate means to enforce free flow of logistics as a land-linked country. Serving as a distribution and logistics hub for neighboring countries, supply chain disruptions are among the inevitables. But the International Federation of Freight Forwarders Association, of which Uganda is a member, believes the convention is a golden opportunity for Uganda to benchmark best practices for more investment opportunities in the industry.
From Africa and Middle East countries, and we are happy to facilitate the cooperation on regional level, since this is the way, coming from the global level to be introduced to the regional level and to try to use the best practices all over the world. So to say, this is the very modern way to deal with our profession, to deal with the advocacy of our profession to the governmental and non-governmental international level.
And we are very much honored to be hosting this conference on behalf of our principals who are theater. We have just started. The conference will take 3 days from first start, and during the process we have a number of topics that we are going to discuss, moving around freight, transport, logistics, and all that goes with it.
According to Kenya Ports Authority, Uganda is the second largest dependent on Mombasa Port, holding 24% market share. Kenyan President Ruto discussed a raft of measures to be implemented immediately and improve cargo handling through the Port Mombasa to the hinterland. Among them is the removal of weigh bridges and load blocks for transit cargo. The Ministry of Works and Transport confirms that these are yet to materialize. However, freight expert Charles Kareba suggests a maritime agency like Kenya and Tanzania could help Uganda handle these bureaucratic challenges more effectively.
You're welcome to come in, ladies and gentlemen.
Is that really relevant? Then the other things like what we used to the issue of roadblocks on the corridor, on the route, illegal road. I would call them illegal because they were not correcting any charges for government. Yeah. So like President Ruto said, why do we have these roadblocks? Because when somebody is transporting, he puts that he factors that in that I'm going to pay bribe on the roadblock. So he will put it to you, the owner of the container. So that increases the transport cost. Now, the issue of like on the railway transport, we are saying, can we also look at reducing maybe the tariffs so that we have more cargo on rail than on road? Yeah, these are some of the discussions we are having.
They charge the owner of the cargo what they call vessel delay surcharge. Are you responsible for their not being able to enter the port? No, but they charge you $100 per container because they cannot enter the port in the number of days they expected to. So those are unnecessary, and because we don't have a maritime agency as Uganda, those are the things that are dealt with by the Kenya Maritime Agency and the equivalent, I think, is Sumatra in Tanzania, which deals. Those are the sort of charges they will tell you, either you stop them or you don't come here.
Discussions are ongoing to consider Djibouti Ports Authority as an alternative route. However, stakeholders such as Charles are doubtful of the idea, citing infrastructure limits to support that corridor.
Kenya, through Uganda, through South Sudan, through Ethiopia, because once we connect to Ethiopia, then we can link to the Djibouti port. Because already you know that Ethiopia is connected to the Djibouti port by train, by rail. So if we can have that connection made, there is actually a trans-road plan to have us connected through Djibouti port. Reason being is that we need to play also to have diversity of entry points, other than depending on one or two. If you have a problem in that one, then you are locked out.
Uganda Road Fund, a key driver in the country's road infrastructure, manages significant road assets worth 35 trillion shillings, responsible for 95% of the country's goods traffic. Regarding multimodal infrastructure and integration, construction of the Bukasa port is underway and completion is destined to facilitate marine, rail and road transport. Ministry of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives is further dragging in the mud away from the rental scandal and failure to play its oversight role over the affiliate entities such as UNBS. The Committee on Trade has sent 3 senior members to the Parliamentary CID police for fraudulent expenditure. 300 million shillings in fuel expenses to Total Energies is prefixed to 3 convicted members in just 1 year. This reality has also been rendered conflicting as the committee even cited cash withdrawals instead of fuel. Samla Hanifa has more.
More shocking details keep unraveling as the committee further investigates matters of misappropriation of funds in the Ministry of Trade. Today, the legislators discovered that more than 300 million shillings was used by only 3 staff members of the ministry in fuel expenses in just 1 year.
2,000. The second transaction from the same petrol station in Bukoto, senior accountant, at 11, I think this is going backwards, 11:31, withdrew 250 petrol. Again, at 11:30, he withdrew another 250,000. Again, at 11:15, he withdrew 480,000. The same day, 30th July 2022. The same day again, at 11:13, you can imagine this is a difference of 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Senior accountant, petrol again, now 400,000 from the same petrol station. Now, under what circumstances, even if it was a car, a difference of 2-3 minutes, what kind of fuel tank is this?
One card, one officer, but more than one card, which means there was another card being held by another person, which you rightly said. Somebody could be holding the card without necessarily holding the office. Now, may you tell us who was that other person who could have been holding the second card, but not necessarily the senior accountant?
The 3 staff members, who include the senior accountant and the transport officers, have denied these allegations, yet the evidence before the committee clearly points to their participation in these anomalies.
Did you write to Total to issue fuel cards with certain amounts of fuel? Did you?
We work like this.
All along, I knew this is the card titled senior accountant. However, when we came to this committee the second time, I went back to try and inquire, because this is when I got to know that there were some other cards titled senior accountant out there in the field. I could not get in this information through the transport officer.
According to the Permanent Secretary, Mrs. Geraldine Sally, she tried to investigate this matter because by the time she joined the ministry, some junior staff were getting much more fuel money than the ministers, something which is not right.
To thank your committee for diving into the line of fuel for the ministry, because since I arrived, I have also been seeing a lot of fuel transactions without understanding them, and every time I would ask for a spool or a drill down of fuel, I wouldn't get it, and I don't know why. Whether it is my staff didn't know how to use maybe the Excel spreadsheets to do an analysis of the data, and it was not analyzable, let me say, because the only time you can analyze is if it is in an Excel spreadsheet. If it is given to you in PDF or just a small printout, you cannot make an analysis. So when I put my foot down finally, and I got some information. I also want to thank Total for giving me all the information that I needed on the emails. Over the weekend, I was pressing them for this information. They dove in, and some of the aspects that I found left me wondering what was going on the fuel.
So freely, you are going to be released on bond, because we don't know if you will come back. We need that information, the 3 transport officers, and we have reason to believe what is happening in trade with the fuel could be happening in other ministries. So this is just a litmus paper. So you'll be escorted, we'll give you police bond, you'll be reporting until we are done with you in regards to fuel. But you'll also give us all your documents in support. 1, where all these officers, not only these, the entire staff of the ministry, sign for these various cards. 2, authorization from accounting officers for you to put fuel on these various cards.
He has concluded by sending the 3 staff to CID Police of Parliament to make their statements as they keep reviewing the documents provided to them by the team from Total. They have also requested Total to provide footage evidence of the officers who carried out their transaction before they can make their recommendations. Sam Lanifa, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
We now look at the stalling road works. Deputy Inspector General of Government Patricia Achan Okiria has camped in southwestern Uganda to investigate the delayed completion of roads under the Uganda Support to Municipal Infrastructure Development USMID in Barara City, Ntungamo and Kabale Municipality. Despite the repeated contract extension, completion has been delayed since May 2021. That liquidated damage has been considered, while multiplex is at the center of the discourse. Kate Namugera has more.
Construction of roadworks funded by the World Bank under Uganda Support to Municipal Infrastructure Development USMID project was contracted to Multiplex Limited, a local roads construction company, at a tune of 54 billion shillings. Completion has been entirely delayed since May 2021 and liquidated damages subsequently considered. As a result, the Deputy Inspector General of Government, Patricia Achan Okiria, has camped in the south-western region to investigate this matter. Multiplex, the contracted company, has been pushed to file a complaint to the Office of the Inspectorate of Government, accusing town clerks of Kabale, Ntungamo and Barara City of mismanaging the project. Supervisory consultancy is reported to have been acquired soon after the contractor had been instructed to commence the road works.
The problem we have is I think our contractors side-wide is confused. They are being graded by someone without eco.
No, that is not
experience.
No. We shall not accept government money to be used the way people want.
Following the accusations of failure by the authorities to secure free sites and contract managers, the Deputy Inspector of Government chose to engage the authorities for a workable solution. The Deputy IGG further vowed to arrest City Council officials in case of failure to accomplish works in 1 month time.
I'm going to put deadlines. If in 1 month I don't see any action here, I'm going to arrest people. I'm going to arrest people and they'll go and sleep in Luzira for failing government programs.
And the doctor.
Because if you come here and start giving me technicalities, like as a lawyer, I come with legalese, you don't see action.
That is the problem we are
going to discuss.
For us, we want to
highlight the problems. We are going to put action points and deadlines. If deadlines cannot be met in a month's time, I think I will not come back to embarrass a friend. At least people will go saying, the actual woman has implemented her directives by taking some people for failure to implement programs.
In the engagement meeting held at the City Council Hall, Annette Twine, the Director of Project Risk Monitoring and Control, together with the Deputy IGG, directed the city authorities not to charge liquidated damages and also ordered them to clear all the overdue funds to the contractor.
Is it understood? We should not charge any liquidated damages now.
because we want we want the road to be completed. If there are any use the contractor is demanding, please pay all that is due to the contractor. For us, we are giving advice. If you don't do it, that is your problem.
I may come here undercover and just pass through the roads and go back to check to ensure that the roads are existent, they are being done. If they are not done, I will feature as a different person with a different face, because I know where the mistakes are. I know who is responsible for what. I have the nitty-gritties. I have bags of documents which show the things and my investigation report. And I will not hesitate to take on to implement some of those things myself by swinging into action, arresting the responsible people and putting them to task to explain why works were not concluded.
But instead is protecting the seals.
Pending works include Major Victor Bwana measuring 0.95 kilometer, Gulf Road 0.65 kilometer, and Stanley Road measuring at 0.78 kilometer. With a 1-month ultimatum, it's yet to be certain whether Multiplex shall address the long-time face-off. This story was compiled by Catherine Namgera and Pedson Mumbere for Smart 24 TV. Business Today.
Business Today will now take a short break, but we will return from here. Stick around.